Jokshan was the father of Sheba and Dedan. The descendants of Dedan were the Asherites, the Letushites, and the Lemamites. The sons of the Midians were Ephah, Epher, Hanok, Ebedah, and Eldah. All these were descendants of Keturah. Abraham left everything he owned to Isaac. But while he was still living, he gave gifts to the sons of his concubines and sent them away from his son Isaac to the land of the east. Altogether, Abraham lived 175 years. Then Abraham breathed his last breath and died at a good old age, an old man and full of years, and he was gathered to his people. His son Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah and Mamre, in the field of Ephron, son of Zohar the Hittite. The field of Abraham had bought from the Hittites. There Abraham was buried with his wife, Sarah. After Abraham's death, God blessed his son Isaac, who then lived near Beer Lahai Roi. This is the account of Abraham's sons, Ishmael, whom Sarah maidservant Hagar, the Egyptian, bore to Abraham. These are the names of the sons of Ishmael, listed in the order of their birth. Nebaioth, the firstborn of Ishmael, Kedar, Abil, Mibsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hadatima, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedemah. These were the sons of Ishmael, and these are the names of the 12 tribal rulers according to their settlements and camps. Altogether, Ishmael lived 137 years. He breathed his last and died, and he was gathered to his people. His descendants settled in the area of Havilah to Shur, near the border of Egypt as you go toward Ashur, and they lived in hostility toward all their brothers. This is the account of Abraham's son, Isaac. Abraham became the father of Isaac. And Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah. That's all right. Go back. And Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel, and the Aramean from Paddan Aram, and sister of Laban the Aramean. And Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife, because she was barren. The Lord answered his prayer, and his wife Rebekah became pregnant. The babies jostled each other within her, and she said, "Why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord. The Lord said to her, "Two nations are in your womb, two peoples from within you will be separated. One people will be a stranger than the other, and the older will serve the younger." When the time came for her to give birth, there were twin boys in her womb. The first come out was red, and his whole body was like a hairy garment. So they named him Esau. After this, his brother came out with his hand grasping Esau's heel. So he was named Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when Rebekah gave birth to them. The boys grew up, and Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the open country, while Jacob was a quiet man, staying among the tents. Isaac, who had a taste for wild game, loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Once, when Jacob was cooking some stew, Esau came in from the open country, famished. He said to Jacob, "Quick, let me have some of that red stew. I am famished." This is why he was also called Edom. Jacob replied, "First, sell me your birthright." I'm going to stop right there. So the reason I just went ahead and I read all of that is because I wanted to get to that point. And here it is. Abraham sought to preserve, his family. And he did that by isolating his family from the surrounding Canaanites. And I'm just kind of going back. So the mention of Rebekah's being from Syria doesn't even seem consistent with this until we remember Abraham's direction. And so he says, "I will make you swear by the Lord, the God of heavens and the God of earth, that ye shall not take a wife from my son from the daughters of the Canaanites among you I live, but you shall go to my country." And of course, I know Joel talked about this, how he picked out, God had a plan, and he picked out exactly who he wanted to be married to Abraham's son. And the whole reason was because, you know how we have plans for our kids? And we name them the names that we name them. And then we say, well, I'm going to fix Josiah up because I have plans that he's going to be a doctor. But I'm going to tell you, the Lord has a way of going against the grain of what we plan for our children and for ourselves. And so while we're trying to fix up our plans for our kids, he has another plan. And even though it seemed like this was not right, what was done, it was sort of, evil, deceptive, and everything else, God had a plan. So here where it says, and Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife, well, remember who else prayed so that their wife could have a son, because she was barren. Look at the parallel of the lives of Sarah, and then look at Rebekah and how this has happened. And she is not the only one. But in looking at this, Isaac, he saw that his wife seemed, distraught. Because how many years had they been married? She had not had a child yet. It was for many years. But how long will you wait until the redemptive child should be born? How can you tell the Lord, when you should have a baby, if God has a plan for you? And the thing about this, in this whole story, is that why did God wait for Isaac's prayer before he granted them children? God could have given them children earlier without the prayer, right? He could have given them 12 children. Or for that matter of fact, Isaac could have prayed 20 years before, like after he had married her, right? And then the Lord would have answered. But there is a reason for God's plan. And the thing to know about God's plan is that it's his plan and not ours. And that our thing is waiting and being obedient. And then when prayer times comes, I'm going to say the prayer that has faith, not, a wavering prayer, but a prayer that will bring about a change. And you can cry and moan and groan, but God is the one who gets to decide that your prayer is righteous. And that prayer is so righteous that it touches the heart of the Lord and he answers it. But we have a hard time dealing with situations in our families because God did not answer right then. Why is my husband going through this? Why is he so sick? Why is there pain racked in his body? We believe in you, God. We trust in you, Lord. What is it that we need to do in order to get our prayer answered? All right, so we might be surprised at what happened next. So Isaac and Rebekah related God to their lives and how God related to them. He did this because God wanted to go against the grain of what history or what tradition said. Tradition said that the first child, the son, should get the birthright, right? But that's not what happened. And then it was deceptive the way it happened. Go to the next. The babies jostled each other within her, and she said, okay, go ahead to the next one. Go ahead. And go ahead. Thank you. The first to come out was red. His whole body was a hairy garment. So they named him Esau. And then after this, his brother came out with his hand grasping. Esau healed. So he was named Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when Rebekah gave birth to them. Stop right there. I just want to say something. In our medical history, a lot of times when twins are in the mom and they're sharing like the same sac and everything else, one will steal from the other. And so when those babies, we call that twin transfusion. And when that happens, that baby comes out red. Why? Because he has stolen all the blood flow from his sibling. So I thought about that when I was looking at this because we've seen this quite a bit at the hospital. Go ahead. The boys grew up, and Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the open country, while Jacob was a quiet man staying among the tents. Isaac, who had had a taste for wild game, loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Now, there seems like there's favoritism right there, doesn't it? It seems like, wait a minute. So Isaac said, I like him. I like him. Esau, he cooks good. He gives me what I want. He's my favorite. But Rebekah, she loved Jacob. I remember my father telling me, the one that I love is the one who spends the most time with me. I remember him telling us that. The one that spends that time with me, that's who I love. It's favoritism. And it's not that there's something wrong with it. You know, I want you all to see that because I know parents struggle a lot of times with feeling that pulled from one child to the other, and they may feel guilty like they're not giving the other child that attention. You seek the Lord and he'll tell you what to do. And it's sometimes, Joe, one of the kids need your attention more than the other one needs it. And you know, and it's just for that time. It doesn't mean it's going to be for all time, but just for that time. I had to learn that. So, okay. So then the next one. Once when Jacob was cooking some stew, Esau came in from the open country famished. He said to Jacob, quick, let me have some of that stew. I'm famished. That's why he was so called Edom. Then Jacob replied, first, sell me your birthright. Okay? And then it says, look, I'm about to die, Esau said. What good is the birthright to me? Stop right there. I'm about to die. Well, what happened? He stayed out there too long, right? Because he's a hunter. And he came in, he was so hungry that he was really about to die, or was he lazy? Was he about to die, or he was too lazy to fix his food? But wait a minute, isn't he the one that's the oldest? Isn't he the one with the birthright? Why didn't he just jump on his animal or run down to the house and to his father's house and have his mom fix him something to eat? All these questions came up about And then I thought about this. He stayed out there so long. He said, what good is the birthright to me? Oh my goodness. A family legacy, a family gift. And here it is, he was reeling, he's making it feel like it's nothing. So it's just like when your parent gives you a phone. And then you take the phone, you leave it at school. You leave it at your friend's house. And then you say, well, I just want another one. Really? Those phones are not cheap. They got you that as a gift. But you just say, well, they'll give me another one. But in this instance right here, this is what I see. A lot of times when we're out in the world and we say we save, we try things, we go out and we're with our friends and we go with them, we go to the lounge. We don't drink, but we eat. And then we go again with them, and this time it's a 3-day trip, and we go to Memphis with them, and then we go to this one party, and we say, well, I don't drink, and I don't dance, but you with them. And then you go someplace else, they on a 7-day cruise, you out in the middle of the water. And they got all these other things on this cruise. You try that out, you try that out, you try that out, you stayed out there too long. And now you're in trouble. Why? Because you went away from what your teaching was for you. And that is to have a relationship with God. But you decided, now I want to have a relationship with my friends. And they said, well, why don't you go on and try it? They have after pills for this. Or why don't you go ahead and try this? You all see where I'm going? Well, sometimes we stay out too long and we compromise our gift. We compromise and we say, well, you know what? He said, what good is this birthright to me? I want some of this stew. But you know what others say? They could say, well, you know what? Say it's a dish that you want. You say, well, I'm going to have some beans. But doggone well, those beans mess you up. You have gas, your back is hurting, it's bubbling up. But you say, but you know what? I'm going to take some Beano. Because if I take the Beano, then I can eat the beans and I'll be all right. You are compromising your health. So think about your spiritual life, compromising it, throwing it away. And that's what he was doing. He was throwing away his birthright. And that is not what God wants us to do as the gift that he has given us, the salvation that he has given us. He died so that we might have life. But what if we keep going putting the gun to our head? And the gun to our head is saying, I'm going over to Susie's house. She's going to cook me some vittles, as they used to say, and it's because I'm real hungry. But you're not married, and you know that she is married. Why are you over there? Go on down to Church's Chicken and get you a 3-piece and be done with it. Stop compromising your life and selling out what God has given you, which is your birthright. What? The right to receive his blessing, the right to receive his promise, the right to receive healing, the right to receive forgiveness. But if you keep moving away from it, then you are compromising. You are selling away what the Lord has promised unto you. And not only that with your selfish self, you are selling away what your children would inherit. Right? Think about it, you all. This is just not a Esau-Jacob effect. This is a GABFAC effect. This is any of the churches that we can name effect, where we sell out our birthright. We say, well, I'll just have one drink and I won't drink no more. I'll have one more smoke and I won't smoke no more. You are compromising what God has given you. So, in this, the key question with Esau and Jacob, in fact, with all of us, what do we choose to do with the blessings that God has given us? This is where we often forget. It's about obedience. We cannot get away from this. So in here, we see that Esau didn't care about his spiritual rights. God had him first, he was born as the firstborn, but he rejected this special responsibility. He rejected this gift that the Lord was trying to give him. What was more important to him was the entertainment and being fed. What is yours? What is your entertainment that pulls you away from your birthright? What is the thing in your life that causes you to move away from the Lord? He said, I said, study. You said, but oh man, the game is on. Check this. Right after the game, Lord, me and you. Me and you. No. And then what do your children learn that are with you? Right after the game, y'all, me and you. Me and you, Lord. Because my dad, we got this game we got to watch, right? It's hard, right? It's just like stealing. And it's just like doing the wrong thing for what you think is the right reason. Because you say, this is family time. We got to spend family time together. Oh, wait a minute. Who's in charge of life? Who's in charge of making sure that you breathe that next breath? Who's in charge of hearing your prayer when you call on him because your child is in trouble, your child is sick? Let's think about that for a moment. So we don't see that a lot, that full picture at first, but I tell you, don't compromise. It hurts. It hurts. I want to see Wakanda forever. But if he calls me to prayer, it won't be it'll be Wakanda forever down here. It will be all the way down. I will settle my destination if I don't pick and choose the right thing to do, the right response in God's word in the lives that he has given us examples of from in the Bible, even about Esau and Jacob, about their lives, siblings. We need to examine each of our lives that we will not defile our temple, that we keep it straight with the Lord. And in this way, our children will see what we're doing, and they'll see that, oh man, I see that my dad has received the gift of the Lord, and he prays. And when the Lord say go, he goes. He has not distorted it by slipping something in between, like a game. Or like we got to get to the store to get something. These small little things that we do. So anyway, each of us is placed in a certain place at a certain time in a certain destination. Our families, our culture. Because who is righteous? Who is righteous? Everybody said? The Lord. He is righteous. Do you all think that God is unjust? If something happens to you, I would ask a question. And then I would say, Lord, help. Because an earnest prayer, what does it say? The fervent prayers of the righteous availeth much. We need to ask a question and not blame God or say, God, now why did I have that flat tire on the way home? I'm all out here by myself. There may have been something else down the road that he did not want you. That flat tire may not have been the 6-car pileup down there. So he delayed you. And so we have to look at these things in life. We have to look at the examples of men in the Bible who have gone through similar things that we're going through right now. Nothing has changed but time. That's the only thing that has changed. hairstyle, maybe not, maybe so. Seriously. These, maybe, because we really don't know, right? So anyway, Jacob and Esau were both greatly blessed. If you think about it, they were blessed because they were the sons of Abraham and Isaac. They had the covenant and everything else that covered them. But God has a way of making sure that his plan comes through. And we know that through his plan, Jesus was coming. And he didn't want the enemy to stop that. So he had a plan, right? So guess what? Esau was not the pick. Even though Jacob, he kind of figured out a way and deceived his brother. But if you keep reading, you'll find out that Jacob did a turnaround, right? So why y'all judging? You might do your turnaround. I'm not going to judge you, because then I need to turn around, right? We all get to that point in our lives that our name is something. Sarai's name was changed. Abram's name was changed, right? And it was changed to fit the line that was coming down. Why? Because the Lord was making a way for you, for salvation, right? He changed Saul's name. Why? Because he saw in him what he needed, even though he was a murderer. He said, well, I didn't do it. I sent people to do it. What? He still did it, right? Partaker. He changed Sarai's name to Sarah. And look at here. Then he changed Jacob's name to Israel. Oh, my God. There is a change that's going to come about when you allow the Lord to be in your destiny, be in your plan, and be in your life. Yeah, Esau and Jacob, they're just part of the history of the Bible. But I'm talking about right now in our lives. What is Josiah's name going to be? You're going to say, oh, he's anointed. He has a smart about him that nobody has. He has a memory about him that's not even second to none. Why? The Lord has something for him down the line. And they said, do you know that boy knows the Bible back and forth? Not only that, he can explain it. We didn't understand him at first, but now we get it. I understand him. I understand how the Lord directed his life from birth to then. Whatever his then is going to be. And what I'm saying to you all is that God had a plan for salvation and for the Almighty One to come through. And nothing was going to stop his plan. Not you, not me, not anything that we were doing, not even those in this history right here in the Bible. Yes, the Bible, these scriptures are inspired by him, by the men that wrote it. Why? It's a testimony to us. This is the greater that you can do. This is what you are supposed to be doing. This is the line that you're supposed to be doing. Why? Because I have something for you to do. I have anointed you to come down this line and do what? To minister to the youth, to minister to the brokenhearted, to minister to those who are trying to put a gun to their head, to minister to the young people in the schools and the university that are trying to commit suicide and take their life. Why? Because you opened up yourself and now you're obedient to the Lord, and he has opened up your eyes to see, like Minister Joe said, they're blind. Yeah, we have our sight, but we blind. Why? Because, can't see. Because we have too much of our own entertainment of what we want to do in front of us that is distorting our clear view of what the Lord has for us. You hear me? This is what he has. We have to respect those who are in authority. Don't get everything off your chest. No, be smart. Give honor to whom, even if the person is being mean to you. This is what you say. You say, yes, you may be right, Dr. King, Sister King. You're right about that. But did you know also that these are the other things that came with this, and I was just obeying that? So I'm right about what I'm doing, right? because that's what your law said. It said that. So you are correct. So then we have to learn how to respect others who are in authority, and don't say they don't know what they're talking about. No, no, no. You don't diss somebody, like in front of a whole group of people or even by themselves. How do you win soul? You got to be wise. Even if they're a king or a prince or a doctor or just a regular person that you're talking to, you have to say the right things to them and speak with a voice of authority, but yes, with peace and calm and love to draw them in so that they what? At a time, if I keep talking to Jan, she's going to get saved. Why? Because she's going to remember that I respected her. I gave her the word of God. And I told her what happened with Esau and Jacob. I told her that even though Jacob was a trickster, that he changed. And so God changed his name. And then I can say, you know what? And Esau, he just kept going the way that he wanted to go. And he tried to destroy, his own bloodline, which means he was still some kid to him, right? Because later on, him and Keturah and Ishmael and all of them, they came against Jacob, sons. What a, family reunion. What can I say? But what you have to look at is that you need to stay exactly where you are, where the Lord has you. Don't move yourself up. And don't move yourself to the left, to the right. If the pastor said, Brother Joe, I'm going to need you to watch the door for the next 4 weeks. You say, yes, sir. Why? Because down the road, the university is going to give you a job of watching over 500 souls. And because of your patience of waiting at the door, what happens at the door? You receive all kinds of people, all kinds of attitudes, all kinds of walks of life of people coming through. And because you were at that door for 4 weeks, you encountered all types of spirits and of people who had different attitudes and every time. But what did you do? You said, good morning, how are you? How can I help? Good morning, how are you? How can I help? 4 weeks, good morning. Can I help you with something? Are you good? And out of that, born a leader. And so a leader is someone who's a good follower, a good listener, not someone who sticks out his chest and said, I'm Pastor Joe Hicks. I'm going up front and sit down. Really? Really? You just moved your chest up and yourself? God will. He'll do that to you. So anyway, let me go on. So anyway, in Malachi, I just want to read this. I have loved you, said the Lord, but you say, how hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Declared the Lord. Yet I have loved Jacob, but I have hated Esau. I have made his mountain a desolation and appointed his inheritance for the jackals of the wilderness. So it might help us to remember that God, in a sense, he did bless Esau, but Esau just rejected it. Now, how many men in the Bible have you seen have rejected what the Lord tried to give them? Because they wanted to be their own selves. They wanted to say, I got this, I got this, Lord. So it is obvious that in God's plan, people may say that he was unfair, but he was not. He is not an unjust God. He does exactly what he needs to do. And so Esau never chose to use what God had given him to please God. So what about you? What have you chosen? Have you chose God? Have you chose to do exactly what he told you to do, or do you need to backtrack? So anyway, in order that God's purpose according to his choice might stand, there is a shaping of our lives, just there as it was with the twins inside the womb. They weren't bad kids in there. It's just that their destiny was already planned. God knew it. They didn't come out slinging. It's just what the plan that the Lord saw. He saw where that bloodline had to come from. And so it was Jacob. So he had to devise a plan that it would happen the way he wanted it to. And so what we do, we should respect God's wishes. We should respect his plans, no matter how it goes against the grain of our thinking. Well, I think, he could have had Esau and Jacob. They could have been best friends, and they could have had the world. No. When evil's always present. No, that's not the way his plans are. It's just our thinking. It's just our thinking. So we dare not command God about saying that he should save one or he should save this one. Many things are predetermined. Our family, our homes are chosen for us. God would have you walk to a house and say, this is it. Our existence is chosen for us, but it is within the context. We need to see the responsibility of our own decisions, you all. I didn't need to go through the whole Genesis 25 for us to see that it is up to us to make the choice. So are you Esau, or are you Jacob that made a change tonight? Who are you? And then as parents and as leaders, this should help us to see God's plan even clearer, to say that, you know what, Cortez was a bad kid. But the Lord turned him around. We won't talk about what he did, but we will talk about what God has done. And that is saved him, gave him his life back, and turned him around. We won't dwell on the negative things, but we will dwell on the positive things that lift each other up. Nehemiah, you're good. God loves you. We love you. Whatever your dream is, all you have to do is talk to the Lord, pray to him. Jocelyn, your business, talk to the Lord. We may have some suggestions, but everything has to be in God's plan, and you have to be diligently in seeking him to help you see that plan, that vision, to make it come. And guess what, you all? Life does not come without frustrations and falling down and getting back up. So we have to learn that through our lives, the most important thing is don't sell out. That is my whole point tonight about Esau, Jacob. Don't sell out. Don't sell out. So I thank the Lord tonight for his word. I've been thinking so much about our children and watching them grow up, and man, seeing Lauren and Isaiah and them. I said, wait a minute, these were our babies. Look at them. And then Josiah taller than me and growing up. That's what I'm talking about. I remember when he was a baby. Time is passing. This is what I'm trying to say. And I told my grandchildren, I'm not going to be here for a long time like you think I'm going to be here. We just don't know. So don't make me live to 100. You know what I'm saying? Get what you need to get about wisdom. Listen to us while you can and gain wisdom. Listen to the pastor when he's teaching. Take notes and get your life together now. We're trying to fix things on our timing, but we need to walk in God's timing. God bless you. Any prayer requests tonight, or questions, or comments?
Yeah, you said, "Who are you?" That's the title of my subject.
Oh, Lord.
Just letting you know. You talked about being blind, physically blind, but not being, or you can see physically, but blind spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one of our points Sunday. That's all. I'm just letting you know.
Okay, you were done at 3:30, right?
Today was 4:30.
Thank you, sister.
No, I was really saying it to say come to my office and read through my message so you see it's already done. Anybody? Anybody?
Good evening to everyone, and great lesson, great lesson. I just thank the Lord for, again, a lot of this is just reminding us because we get so busy in our everyday lives, you know, and we need to be reminded, our young people need to be reminded, everybody, that, you know, don't sell out. Don't sell out. We know right from wrong, and we've been knowing right from wrong since we was little bitty kids. Somebody give you something. Did you take that? I didn't take it. Yes, you did. Because you thought you was going to get in trouble. So you would, no, I didn't. So we've been knowing right from wrong a long time. And this goes to me, to my family, to everyone. Let's not sell out when the Lord is speaking. How do you know, Sister Jan, when the Lord is speaking to you? That little voice on the inside of us. That little spirit on the inside of us. So you, the enemy's coming. And he's going to suggest. That's all he can do is suggest and hope we buy into it. Don't sell out. Just know what the Lord has for us and hold on to that promise that he has for us. So thank you, Minister Deborah Ann, just reminding us, don't sell out. Just be what the Lord is calling you to be. If you don't know yet, keep on praying. You'll get there.
Anybody else?
I'm good. Prayer request tonight. Look, remembering we keeping Brother Anthony and Reverend Anthony, who's taking care of him, and I'm asking prayer for the nurse that's coming to the house. You know, who is taking care of. Prayer for. Are we still streaming, Pastor?